Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Samasta Janakalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satkurum Brahma Vidwaram Satkurum Brahma Vidwaram. Hari Om everyone, good to see all of you in person. This morning we had seen about Mahavakya Upadesha. It is said Vedas are so voluminous. 4 Vedas are there, and the number of mantras, the volume of Vedas is huge. But essence of Veda is Vedanta. Means even though there are so many mantras, so much elaboration is there, essence of that is Vedanta. And when we say Vedanta, it is Upanishad. Within Upanishad, the essence of Upanishad is Mahavakya. It takes several janmas to come close to Mahavakya, to appreciate its beauty, appreciate its depth, and also to own up that teaching. Tattvamasi we have heard in several places, right? But the original source of that is over here. And just to appreciate the way in which this teaching was given out. At a high level, what was the method? Sat is the substratum of creation. Whenever I see creation, turn attention to Sat. And when I look at my physical body, understanding that substratum of that is Sat only. Today, while you are eating, did your attention go to Sat? That is sadhana. One part is listening to it, discussing about it, taking some time to just reflect on this teaching, and then trying to actually shift attention to Sat. Another thing we notice here is Shvetaketu's questioning. At every point, he's not just listening to the teaching, but he has several questions that he's asking the teacher. So one is Jnanam, knowledge. Another is called as Samshaya Rahita Jnanam, doubtless knowledge. And we know if doubts are there, that knowledge cannot help us very much. Simple recipe when we are cooking, if you have any doubt, right, whether should I add this ingredient or not add it, you first get clear knowledge whether it should be added or not added. Over here also, if there are so many doubts about Shastra, we say first let us resolve those doubts and then abide in the same teaching. Point is not to resolve doubts and get stuck over there. Say resolve those doubts, again come back to Shastra Pramana. Means Mahavakya only, I have to get abidance in that Satyam. And this is the another beauty of this Shastra, that unless you have a question, thinking cannot happen. Okay. Jnana Marga, the main sadhana is question. So hold on to that and keep asking. But at the same time, you notice Shvetaketu's one quality. He is ready to absorb the answer given by the teacher. Next time, his question is different, but previous one, he says, I've understood now. I have several doubts, But slowly, one by one, he is answering all those doubts. So in our journey also, along with Shravanam, if there are other doubts, he said, very systematically write it down. There is no question that we can get which is unanswered in Vedanta. This much guarantee we can give. All bhashya is there, so much of elaboration is there, that any question we get, we can answer it. And if it is our question, then it's more relatable versus somebody asking a question. More is, if it becomes my question, it becomes very relatable. Now, like this, Shvetaketu is asking another question, and this is his mananam. Okay, all different mananam he has done. This was there inside him. The same Shvetaketu who was arrogant, who was stabdaha, he is asking all these questions. And our sadhana is spend some time in solitude. One mananam is when we do with everybody, but another mananam is just take one idea and walk alone with that idea. I had shared this earlier when Puja Guruji taught us Bhagavatam. There is that Dhundukari story, right? Where Dhundukari gets moksha, Gokarnaji does not get, although he was doing the pravachan. And they say that Dhundukari did mananam, but all others did not do mananam. So this was the sadhana Guruji had advised us. Whatever little you can understand, whatever speaks to you the most, hold on to it and internalize that part. We will realize that is more beneficial than trying to go with quantity. Whatever little, just holding on to that idea and making it one with us. Now Shvetaketu has another question. What is this question? He says, oh teacher, you told me that Jivas emerge from Sat and they go back into Sat. Right? You remember that honeybee example, river example, all examples were given. But he says, if you take examples of wave, the wave has emerged from the water and it dissolves back in the water. But when it dissolves, it gets destroyed. Second wave that is rising is different from the first wave that rose. This is how come Jiva, when it dissolves in Sat, how come Jiva doesn't get destroyed? Okay, that is his question. Now with an example, Upanishad Rishi is going to say that Jiva, when it merges with Sat, it doesn't get destroyed. That is the main theme of this section now. So wherever in other Prakarana Granthas we have seen that topic, original source of that is from here. Chandogya 6th chapter. We'll point out those things. But before we go there, we use these terminologies sometimes. It is always good to be on the same page. What we mean by that term. When you say Jiva, what comes to our mind? This should come to our mind. Jiva means 5 things put together. Okay, one is gross body that we are familiar with. Subtle body, which is the mind, prana, intellect, antakarana, all of that. Okay, subtle body. Third is causal body, karana sharira. Fourth is reflected consciousness. In that conditioning, consciousness which is getting reflected. And the last one, the most important one is Sat. Or you say Atma, Sakshi, all are different names of the same thing. Okay, these 5 things put together is called as Jiva. If you want a closer understanding, put our name there. What I call as this person, it includes gross body or not? It includes subtle body, or it should include subtle body. Many a times it just stops at the first one. That is why this definition is there. It should include subtle body, causal body, reflected consciousness, and Sakshi. Where did we see this before? Drigdrishya Viveka. Sakshinah Purato Bhati Lingam Dehena Sanyutam Chitit Chaya Samaveshat Jiva syat vyavaharikaha. If these terminologies are precise, we will have a very good Shravanam. Our thinking also will be very precise, and we can build upon it one by one. So this Sat alone, not knowing itself to be Sat, has projected these conditionings, and that total entity is called as Jiva. Okay, that is how. Now question is, when this physical body is dropped, what happens to this Jiva? That is Shvetaketu's question. You said everything merges back in Sat. But that wave which merges back in Sat gets destroyed. New wave comes. Does Jiva also get destroyed in the same way, or something else happens? Okay, this is his question. Now let us see this. Let us repeat 11th section. Asya somya mahato vrukshasya. This side I am not hearing sound. Little louder from this. Asya somya mahato vrukshasya yo mule abhyahanyat जीवन स्रवेत यो मध्ये अभ्याहन्यात जीवन स्रवेत यो अग्रे अभ्याहन्यात जीवन स्रवेत स एषः जीवेन आत्मना अनुप्रभूतः पेपीयमानः मोदमानस्तिष्ठति अस्य यदेकां शाखां जीवो जहाति अथ सा शुष्यति द्वितीयां जहाति अथ सा शुष्यति तृतीयां जहाति अथ सा शुष्यति सर्वं जहाति सर्वः शुष्यति एवमेव खलु सौम्य विद्धीति होवाच जीवापेतं वाव किल इदं म्रियते न जीवो म्रियते इति स य एषो अणिमा ऐतदात्म्यमिदगुं सर्वं तत्सत्यं स आत्मा तत्त्वमसि श्वेतकेतो इति भूय एव मा भगवान् विज्ञापयत्विति तथा सौम्येति होवाच. Very good. So melodious to listen to Upanishad chanting. It has its own power. Just the mantras, because they are apaurushaya mantras. That is the power of it. Now you will notice the again same method of Uddalaka Muni. He is answering the question with an example, but he says, Shvetaketu, get nishtha in that same Mahavakya. You see that last paragraph, it repeats. So I don't want you to get nishtha in jiva or hunger or thirst. Go back to Mahavakya. Resolve all your doubts, question everything, go back to Mahavakya. Now the main theme over here is that this jiva expresses as life, reflected consciousness in this conditioning. Example is taken of a tree. Okay, Upanishad Rishi says, you see this tree Shvetaketu, this tree is also a jiva. Don't only think human beings are jivas, tree also is a jiva. Shvetaketu must have asked, how do I know that this is a jiva? It's a very simple experiment. Just make a small cut at the top of this tree. You will see the sap, which is oozing out of it. So that sap oozing out is a sign of Jiva being there. It's a sentient entity. Agre abhyahanyat jivan sravet. Try it in the middle, you will see the same sap oozing out. That shows Jiva is there. And then try at the very bottom. So there also you will see the same Jiva is expressing. When this Jiva is pervading this entire tree from top to toe, that Jiva is there in that conditioning right now. Now, after some time, you see some trees, the branches, they dry off. He says, if you notice something has dried off, it means Jiva has withdrawn from that portion. Then if you try to cut, there you will not find anything. That is the sign that Jiva has withdrawn from that branch. So like this, slowly, if you see different part of the tree, from that something has been withdrawn, that Jiva has withdrawn, so that tree dries away. And in this way, finally, when Jiva withdraws completely from this tree, the physical part of that tree, he says that will dissolve back into its constituent element. But what happened to the reflected consciousness? That Jiva, we said physical body is one part, right? There is reflected consciousness also. He said that reflected consciousness continues to the next destination. Jiva continues, physical body changes. So here you can say a seed is there, right? So this Jiva, after it has expressed in this, it has gone to its next destination now. Just like this happens, Shvetaketu, the main point I want to tell is, Jiva does not die, only the physical body is left behind. Everything other than this physical body is an ancient entity. What are we talking about? Our own mind. Our own subtle body, it has taken several physical bodies. This is a particular physical body that it is having. This is the main point. Now, the same topic is said with regards to a physical body. Okay? Evam eva khalu somya evam vidditi hovacha jiva petam vavakila idam mriyate na jivo mriyate. Meaning what? This physical body has come with a particular life. How is it determined? Based on karma. When those karmas are completed, those are exhausted, that same Jiva, that physical body is left behind over here, when the karmas are exhausted. But reflected consciousness, or this Jiva which is there, that continues. And you can say, if the karmas are very good, it can go and become a devata. Why always say it goes somewhere else, right? What is an example? Bhishma Pitamaha. He was a devata before. He got a human body. After everything was completed here, he went and became Prabhasa. So our journey is determined by karma. He says bodies are only intermittent places where we are stopping. So Shvetaketu, because Jiva is eternal, means it has been traveling since a long time. When it merges into Sat, it doesn't get destroyed. That was his question. If it merges in Sat, just like wave merges in Sat or wave merges in water, it gets destroyed. How come this Jiva doesn't get destroyed? He says, no. Jiva doesn't get destroyed. It is constantly traveling from one physical body to another. Now, Bhagwan, Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he said, even if we understand this part, lot of our anxieties and sorrows will go down, or should go down. Because what is his perspective there? Bhagwan says, don't invest only in physical body. Whatever sadhanas we do, whatever other investments we do for this mind, that is going to stay with us. What did he say? Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. There is no doubt whether we are going to take another physical body or not. There is no doubt about it if we don't get liberation. But if we live a devoted life, live a dharmic life, that devotee is not afraid of dropping physical body. All Upanishads, the Upasana portion which is there, this is what is pointed out. Ishavasya, last few mantras. Pushanne karshe yama surya prajapatya vyuha rashmin samuha tejaha. So this Upasaka is telling, Bhagwan, I have no doubt about the type of life that I have lived. I also don't have doubt about what will be my future destination. I am coming to you. What is the fear that I should have? So this is one perspective, that it is said one of the klesha that a jiva has is attachment to this physical body. Abhinivesha it is called. That is loosened if we understand that we are not only this physical body, but we are jivas having a physical body. In Viveka Chudamani, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji calls this person as Vidwan. Who is a Vidwan? Not Brahmanishtaha. Person who thinks that I am not only physical body, but I am also Jiva. Deho hamityeva jadasya buddhihi. Says it is very primary thinking to understand that I am just this physical body. Dehe cha jive vidushas tadatmani. Vidwan, he is calling that person who thinks I am not only this physical body, but I am this Jiva who is transmigrating. And Brahmanishta is the one who understands I am not even this Jiva, not even this transmigratory entity, I am that Sat. So Bhagwan Krishna's way of addressing Arjuna is at three levels. One, he says, if you understand yourself to be Sat, no problem. Na sato vidyate bhavaha, na bhavo vidyate asataha. That is one level. Second level of staying away from sorrow, he says, even if you take yourself as Jiva, live a very dharmic life. And Bhagwan says, to take care of your karma phala is my responsibility. Don't worry about whether the result of that action it will come or not, in what way it will come. He says, don't worry about that. I will take care of it. Keeping this in mind only, it is said, whatever we want to accomplish in life, whichever goal it is, if we set our mind on it, we will accomplish it. If not in this life, in later lives. But only thing is, we should be very careful whether that is the goal that we want. Somebody like Dhruva, he set the goal as Dhruvapada. Bhagwan came in front of him, and then he still ended up getting that Dhruvapada. Later on, he regrets. Bhagwan was there, I could have asked Bhagwan, because of this other desire that I had, I have ended up in some other position now. But let us say somebody is not able to appreciate that Atma Tattva yet. Yes, even if one level down, if you come, having this conviction that if I live a dharmic life, I don't have to worry about my future. This is the sadhana perspective of Jiva. We just look at that thing. Goswamiji puts it in a more sweeter way. This we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, but again, repeating it is very helpful. He says, Arjuna, understand that all our sambandha, all relations are only through this physical body. Think about any relation. Without physical body, we don't have that relation. Between jivas, there is no sambandha. So then what should I do? He says, whatever time we are together, let it be a memorable time. All sambandhas may it be very beautiful. Let us not get into any conflict. Tulsi is samsara mein bhanti bhanti ke log. Tulsi, in this samsara, there are different types of people. Don't try to change anybody. What should I do? Sabse hilmil chaliye. Smile and just work with everybody. Nadi Nava Sanjog. We are in this boat together. Don't think this is going to be eternal journey. Eternal journey is only one, to understand my nature as Sat. But while we are with different relations, different responsibilities, is understanding that sambandha should be as good as we can make it. Now this is, the main siddhanta of this verse. Somebody might ask, why do you say Jiva continues after this physical body? We say it is because of karma siddhanta. Whatever action that this Jiva has done, the result of that action should come to the same Jiva. So take it in the positive way. Whatever good karmas that this Jiva has done, all results it cannot experience in the same physical body. Okay, if somebody has to experience Swarga, Sukham, so with this body we cannot. If we insist on that, that person will become Trishanku. So different body is available there, different loka is available. So that is how karma siddhanta is applicable. That is why we say, after dropping this physical body, Jiva continues. If you remove karma siddhanta, then everything will fall apart. No cause-effect relationship, then don't find cause-effect in everything. If you are sick, don't inquire into why I am falling sick. It is random, right? If I have a stomach ache, don't inquire into why I am having that. Either leave karya karana everywhere, or you accept karya karana in most places. Okay, so this is the main topic over here. Second one also we have seen before is child prodigies. There is a book I heard, right? Many lives, many masters, or something like that. What is that? Many lives, many masters, about Punarjanma, written over here only. When it comes from Western scholars, then we appreciate, oh, this is how it is. They say everything they have said before, Punarjanma is there since a long time, but only we should appreciate the sadhana portion there. That is the key part. So Shvetaketu is given this final teaching once again. He says, Shvetaketu, just like you saw right now, in death, in deep sleep, and in dissolution, in all these three things, Jiva goes back into Sat, but it doesn't get destroyed. Okay, according to karmas, it will again rise up again. Somebody can go into dissolution with a very simple sadhana. There was a boy, it is said he used to serve Mahatmas during Chaturmasa, listen to their satsang, very pious family. And because of that satsang that he did, he had so much of samskaras, devotee samskara. And before he could go to his next physical body, he said pralaya happened of this entire creation. And then when again this creation came up, he said, I was born as Devarshi Narad. Bhagavatam, this is said. Naradji tells his story. He said, I was a very simple boy. I just did, used to serve Mahatmas, do satsang. And pralaya happened. When I went into dissolution, I woke up with Devarshi Narad body. That is only to show that sadhana stays with us. That is the portion now. Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi. Go back to that same point whenever doubts are resolved. Your nishtha should be in that Sat. But Shvetaketu has more questions. What is his question now? He says, oh teacher, this creation is so gross. It's so solid. How did this creation come from that Sat? Because Sat is so subtle. Now, subtle we should carefully understand. Subtle doesn't mean small. Atom is also small, but it is gross because it becomes indriya pratyaksha. It becomes perceived by senses. That is why it is gross only. But when we say Atma is subtle, he says it is so, difficult to understand. In that way it is said subtle. But over here, he is asking in a very simple way, how can this gross word emerge from a subtle cause? Okay. Now again, Upanishad Rishi, with an example, he will explain. This also we can read and repeat. Nyagrodha phalamata aharet aharetidam bhagava iti bhindi iti भिन्नं भगव इति किमत्र पश्यसीति अन्व्येमाधानाः भगव इति आसाम अंगैकाम भिन्धीति भिन्ना भगव इति किमत्र पश्यसीति न किंचन भगव इति तं होवाच यं वै सौम्य एतमणिमानं न निभालयसे एतस्य वै सौम्य एषो अणिम्नः एवं महान्यग्रोधस्तिष्ठति श्रद्धत्स्व सौम्येति सय एषो अणिमा ऐतदात्म्यमिदगुं सर्वं तत्सत्यं स आत्मा तत्त्वमसि श्वेतकेतो इति भूय एव मा भगवान् विज्ञापयत्विति तथा सौम्येति होवाच. Okay, now this is another experiment. Gross effect can come from a subtle cause. It says, O Shvetaketu, there is a banyan tree right in front. Bring the fruit of that banyan tree. I had to search a lot to see how that fruit looks. Long time I've been hearing Nyagrodha Phala. This is how it looks. Nyagrodha Phala. Shvetaketu, no questions asked. Goes, gets that fruit. Say, teacher, tell me what I should do. Break the fruit. Bhindi iti. Break the fruit. What do you find? Says, I find those seeds which are there. So take one seed, break it even further. What do you find? He says, nothing. Because in that tiny little seed, break it into half, I don't see anything. He says, from that tiniest of the tiniest little seed, this entire banyan tree has come out. What is this banyan tree? It is hidden in that seed. You don't see it with your physical eyes, but that doesn't mean it is not there. Or that doesn't mean it is not possible for this entire tree to emerge from that subtle cause. In the same way, Shvetaketu, this gross creation that you see has emerged from that same Sat, which is so subtle. But don't have this doubt that how can this gross creation emerge from that Sat? Through an example, he is trying to remove asambhavana. Asambhavana means impossibility. He says, how is such a thing possible? He says, look at this example. Example is only to illustrate similarity. Don't expect everything to be matching in that example. He's just trying to show that just like this banyan tree, which is so gross, can come from a subtle cause, this entire creation can come from a subtle cause. But this part is very important. He says, Shraddhatsva Somya. But, O child, Somya means Priya Darshanaha, who gives joy to the teacher. Looking at him, teacher feels like teaching. So that is Somya. He says, have Shraddha. Why? Because Sat is something which is so subtle, you cannot see with your physical eyes. But that doesn't mean it is not there. What I should have Shraddha in? He said, have Shraddha in Upanishad Pramana. Upanishads say, you are that Sat, you are substratum of this creation, even if I don't appreciate it right away, say have Shraddha in that thing. Puja Gurudev has a beautiful quote about Shraddha. He says, what is faith? Faith is, he says, to believe what you do not see. If I already see it, I already know it, faith is not needed. Right? For example, fire is hot. Do you need faith in it? No, I know that fire is hot. But if you say, this harmonium which I am seeing is nothing but atoms. I say I don't see it in that way. I see this as a gross physical thing. To even conduct this inquiry, I need faith. I cannot directly dismiss this fact that, oh, there is nothing called as atoms and so on. Faith will open a door of inquiry for me. That's why the next part, the reward of faith is, you will see that what you believed in. Initially, it was only belief to start with, but we don't want to end in that way. Imagine that physics teacher, after 4 years of teaching, the teacher asks, do you know atoms? I believe in you. There are atoms. He said, no, my child, I don't want you to believe in atoms. I want this to be your knowledge that this is what an atom is. So in our spiritual journey in the beginning, all this looks so esoteric. What do we mean by Sat? What is this unconditioned existence? I am the substratum of creation. What does it mean? He says, have Shraddha. That is what is the truth. Slowly inquire into this, but later a stage should come where if somebody tells me that I am a Jiva, even that should not shake me. This conviction should be such that I am that Sat, not this finite being. We have a Swamiji in our CIF. All of you must be knowing Swami Advayananji. He has written one memoir in that book, Every Breath a Teaching. One of his experience with Gurudev in terms of the Shraddha. He said he knew Gurudev even before he went to Sandeepany, even before he committed fully to this study. And as a teenager, he would have this question. What was the question? What if everything is a bluff? All this Shastra, all this Sat, whatever they're trying to tell us, what if everything is just a bluff? And he said he had that courage to go and ask this question to Gurudev. He said, what if everything is a bluff? The way in which Gurudev answered is very beautiful. He didn't give a logical answer. He said, just look in my eyes. Do you see something different about me? And Swamiji had so much devotion to Gurudev. He said, yes, Gurudev, that I see. He says, that is because I know that truth. That truth I want to tell you. Why would I bluff to you? You see the way in which he is removing that asambhavana. Means have Shraddha at that point. Later things will become very, very clear. And there Swamiji writes, that one statement of Gurudev opened a window of inquiry. Let me just, give them a benefit of doubt. Let me just walk on this path, and later on, this conviction becomes more firm and firm. Any Upanishad you take, any Prakarana Grantha you take, everything will say the same thing. That is the beauty, And we should not get tired, Some of sadhakas, they feel sometimes, same thing they say, I am Brahma, I am Brahma. But in spite of saying so many times, still we find it difficult to appreciate, right? So because this topic is subtle, Punaravritti is bhushanam, not dushanam. Punaravritti means repetition. And it is talking about we ourselves, so there is no getting bored or anything about it. Each indicator should open up something new for us. Okay. Our prayer to Bhagwan is that Bhagwan maybe not lose our faith in this Shastra because of some immediate concern. Right? Because I am that Sat might not feel very appealing to solve some immediate problem. Like tomorrow I have a deadline, right? I have to submit something. And you are telling on one side that I am that Sat. You say, look at it in this way, that we have taken up so many physical bodies in the past. And our story more or less is the same. This I'm not saying, Bhagavan Shankaracharya is saying, Bhaja Govindam. Balastavat krida saktaha. As a child, he was busy playing. Tarunastavat taruni saktaha. Teenager, some other, priorities. Then Vruddhastavat chinta saktaha. Old age was taken away by worries. Physical body was not cooperating. So many other worries were there. Then he says, Parame Brahmani kopina saktaha. If Shankaracharya said this at that time, we should not be surprised today. If we are feeling that we don't have time, we don't have, this, we don't find it appealing. He says nothing is going to change. Life is going to go on in the same way. We have to change our goal of life. If Sat becomes the goal of life, then everything else should align for me to abide in that truth. Okay. If you ever get the question, now what? Many times you get that, right? I have done everything, lived a good life, gotten all goals that I had. He says, now is the beginning. The real goal of life is to abide in my nature as Sat. Okay. All right. Now Shvetaketu has another question. Question after question. He says, if everything is Sat, everything has come from Sat, everything is sustained in Sat, why is it that I don't feel it that way? Oh, this was my question also. Why is it I don't feel like I am Sat? Shvetaketu only is asking. Okay, now you see answer given to this. Lavanam etat udake avadhaya athama pratarupasidathaha iti saha tatha chakara tam hovacha yad dosha lavanam udake avadha anga tadahareti tadhavamrushya na viveda yatha vilinam evangasya antadachamiti kathamiti lavanamiti madhyadachamiti kathamiti lavanamiti antadachamiti kathamiti lavanamiti abhiprasyetadatha mopasidathaha iti tadha tatha chakara tachashvat samvartate tam hovacha atra vavakila tat somya na nibhalayase atraiva kileti saya esho anima aitadatmamidagam sarvam tat satyam sa atma tattvamasi shvetaketo iti bhuya eva ma bhagavan vijñapayatviti tatha somyeti hovacha. Very good. It comes 9 times, right? Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. Or Swamiji used to say a humorous thing. In Sandeepany, when we studied, right next to our ashram, there was a hotel, 5-star hotel. 4:30 was our class. Whenever Swamiji would chant Om, if there was a wedding, I don't know how they would know. Same time, they would start beating drums and everything, loud noise. Not ordinary, huh? So much so that you can't hear Swamiji speaking. So we used to close all the windows and everything. So he would say, if a student is not alert and the drum plays at that time, he would miss Mahavakya. Say, Tattvam what? Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi. So like this, if you miss once, at least once you will catch in 9 times. That's why it is given again and again. So now salt experiment is there. Huh? This we have seen in Praman Vichara, but again it will come. So it becomes more absorbing. Teacher says, Shwetaketu, you want to understand why this Sat is not seen by me. Why I don't feel like Sat. I will show it through an example. At that time, they didn't have this our salt. Huh? They had rock salt. Hey, Shwetaketu, bring that salt. That whole rock he brought. He said, yes, teacher, what should I do? This rock, you put it in that pot of water. Okay, let it dissolve. Rock salt doesn't get dissolved right away. It has to be kept over there. He said, leave it for 12 hours. Let us just leave that salt, let it get. Whatever has to happen, let it happen. Let us go home now. Both of them go home. Next day again, they come back. Now, Uddalaka Muni tells Shwetaketu, Shwetaketu, go and check that water that you left yesterday and bring me that salt that you put over there. Shwetaketu must have seen inside. So only water is there, no salt. He put his hand inside. Try to see that salt. He says, no salt. He said, teacher, not there, salt. He says, no. Taste that water. This is that mantra, which all of you repeated just now. Yatha vilinam eva angasya antat achamaiti. Taste it from the top. What do you find? Oh, it is salty. Madhyat achamaiti. Taste it from the middle. What do you find? It is salty. Taste it from the bottom of that pot. What do you find? He says it is salty. Teacher says, experiment over. Did you get it? You have to say yes. What he said was, every object has an exclusive means of knowledge. That salt was available to your physical eyes. It was available for you to touch also. But when it dissolves in this water, you cannot use your eyes, you cannot use your touch to get that salt back. The only means of knowledge by which you will know that salt in that water is taste. Example only, huh? Don't try to say that Brahman I will know through taste. Example, just map the similarities. Every object has a specific means of knowledge. If I don't appreciate it, I will use erroneous means of knowledge to know that object. And I will keep struggling because that object will not reveal itself in front of other means of knowledge. No matter how much I try to bring that water up with my hand, taste of that water will come only through tongue. Sound, if I want to hear, with my eyes I cannot hear. Form, if I want to see, with my ears I cannot see. No matter how hard I try. He says, do Praman Vichara again and use the right Pramana. So just like there are specific Pramana for worldly things, he says even for Atma, even for that Sat, there is a specific Pramana. So what is that Pramana? So that Pramana is Upanishad Pramana. Mahavakya is the Pramana. Use that Pramana and understand what it is pointing out to. I am that Sat. I don't have to go anywhere to become Sat or to get that Sat. Upanishad Pramana will only remove those things which I have erroneously included in myself. This point is repeatedly coming. Means we should catch hold of this point. What does pramana do? What does valid means of knowledge do? It only removes those erroneous things which I have included in me myself. So this morning also we saw, when I say aham, when I say I, is this physical body included in that aham? Yes. So it says to remove that, Upanishad Pramana has come. When I say I, mind is included. Although we say my mind, but that thing has been so deep rooted. Whatever is the nature of mind, I say, this is my nature. To remove that notion, Upanishad Pramana has come. So Shvetaketu, don't try to see Sat. Try to abide in Sat. That Guruji's line, you remember? Seeing the truth is being the truth. Okay, so there will never be a time when I will shake hands with Sat or experience Sat as an object. Kenopanishad, this is the whole teaching. Different ways it is pointed out that we should hold on and appreciate. Puja Gurudev had different, ways of explaining this point. What is this point? That everything will not become seen through physical eyes. Don't insist on that. That everything I will see through physical eyes. So it is said once he was addressing some workers in our card, in Siddhabari. And they were very humble people, very innocent people. If you have been there, you will see how they are. Whatever you tell them, they will do it sincerely. So Gurudev said, all of you should take Bhagwan's name. As a family, you should pray. You should all live a very dharmic life. Have faith in Bhagwan. If other people come and tell you, show me Bhagwan, show me God, he says, I will tell you an experiment. What is that experiment? First, see that person, whether he is well built or he is, lean, thin, not stronger than you. Make sure that he is not stronger than you. Go and pinch that person. Okay? And then he will cry, right? Oh, why did you pinch? I say, pinch? You felt pain? Show me the pain. What is the point? Not everything is seen through physical eyes. So don't insist that I want to see Sat. Okay, that was the question Shvetaketu asked, and that is how this Upanishad Rishi is answering. Every object has a specific means of knowledge. Use that pramana and abide in that Sat. If you cannot find it through one pramana, don't change pramana. It is just like saying, oh, I did not see the form through my eyes. Now I will try to see it through my ear. Okay. Means I did not find Sat through Upanishad. I will use something else to find that Sat. He says, no, do more of Nirmana. What is more of Nirmana? Beautify this mind. Make this mind have more Shraddha. Again, come back to Pramana and then understand it in this way. Have you all ever wondered how to increase Shraddha? How does Shraddha come to a person? How does it increase? I'll share some points, what I felt. You can think on your own. Shraddha comes through Punya Karma. It is not available anywhere outside. No other thing can give us Shraddha per se. Selfless service, Nishkama Karma, if we do sincerely, as a result of that is our mind becomes purer and it will have more Shraddha in Shastra. Another way of bringing Shraddha is when you live with those who have Shraddha. We don't have to go too far. In our own families, we will have so many of our relatives, near and dear ones, whom you notice are having a very different support. very pious. You say, how can this person go through so many difficulties without having so many ups and downs? In India, when few months back, when the storm hit and so many things were going on, right? In India, all different things came at the same time. I called one family, just to ask them how they are doing. They said, call after half an hour. I said, half an hour, why? He said, we'll tell you later, just call after half an hour. I called back. I said, today is Hanuman Jayanti. We are doing Hanuman Chalisa Parayanam 21 times. Outside, there is pandemic raging. There is no water. There is no electricity. They are on their phones, with all those small little tiles. And he said, we are doing Hanuman Chalisa 21 times. I said, such a wonderful Shraddha. What it can do to a person is unimaginable. Going through all ups and downs with this faith that Bhagwan is here to take care. Okay, so this is second way. When you live with those who have that Shraddha, so we get inspired to have more faith. Third is when we ourselves start analyzing our life. When we have asked things from Bhagavan and we have received it. So many things you have asked, right, in the past. Just looking back at what I asked and how he gave it to me. So that portion, when we reflect back over and over again, our Shraddha in Bhagavan deepens. It will not naturally happen. Suddenly one day, we will not wake up with a lot of Shraddha. So we'll have to work for it and then appreciate that Vedas or Shastra are the breath of Bhagavan. Right? Having Shraddha in Bhagavan means having Shraddha in his words. Having devotion to Bhagavan Krishna means having devotion in words of Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Right? So that is the path. We have to inquire for ourselves how to get this Nishtha in Shastra, how to get more Shraddha in Bhagavan. All right. So now we are at a very good pace. Few more sections will come. Again, Shwetaketu will ask questions. He said, okay, teacher, you said that means of knowing nature of Upanishad, nature of Sat is not physical eyes. So what is the right means by which I can know that Sat? So different stories, different examples, Upanishad Rishi will explain. Okay, that we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.